Okay, I've got some sound there, so we're ready to go. And I'm going to move this down. That's my little toolbar for my recording stuff. And we'll make sure we're good. Yeah. Okay, now, as I put in the announcements and as I'm going to note here, this is a pre-recorded screencast. And I have to run a colleague to some medical for some medical appointments, and so I'm not going to be holding class today. I'm not going to be holding class on Monday, October 1st. So I'm doing this pre-recorded screencast in advance for you, and I'll also send all of you an email. I want to talk about the assignments again and what we've got going on, what's happening, and just to look ahead. I'm going to open this up here. Now, if you really wanted to see what I'm after, all right, here it is. Now, if you want to know how you ought to organize your paper, your response, like I want headings, bullet points, whatever, here it is. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then your sources. Organize your response like that. Provide some sources in APA format, and you're good to go. Okay. Now, as we're moving on into the course, when we have a live screencast, which we'll have Wednesday, if I call on you, you need to be prepared to discuss your case. And if you're not, I'm going to be moving in that mode. So if you're not there, you might have an issue. Okay. And then so folks, stay with the program and we'll roll through this. All right. And I'm going to go back here, and you'll note the MDP is a little bit different, okay? And the interactive session on pages 23 to 24, because they do fit with this, okay? I want you to get those done and just basically answer the case study questions. So I'm going to go over here to the book. All right, and I'm going to go back to, I think it's, look at the contents, and I'm going to part 1. Now, I'm sure this will be over in chapter 1, and we'll go to page 23, and here we are, how UPS competes globally with information technology, okay? So that's the session, and you say, well, okay, what do you want? Well, here's what I want. I want you to answer the case study questions. And I would also like you, I want you to provide resources. In other words, well, references. Okay? So I want you to do that. All right. Go back to Canvas, back here, and I'm just running through these types of assignments. So you have those two. You also have an exam on okay, let me go back here. Okay, I got the management decision program. I hadn't gotten behind on myself there, and there it is. And that's in chapter 6. So I'm going to go back here for a moment. Let's just do this. My fault, my problem. And we'll go down here to chapter 6, which is in part 2, the foundations. And the case is on pages 242 to 243. Yeah, how strange that was. All right. Okay. As you come down, you'll see the hands-on, the management decision problem is at the very bottom of page 242. And there are the bullet points that I want you to answer and include references. And that's the management decision problem. Now, we'll go back. And here's interactive session number 2 for week for week 6. And that's on pages 63 through 64. And we'll go back there, and I think it's going to be back in chapter 2. Go back to the chapters. And that's back in 1. And there's that interactive session. And that's, I want you to do interactive session number 3. Let's go back there. Well, interactive session number 3 for us will be the one on pages 63 to 64. I apologize. Okay. Again, answer the case study questions, provide your references. That's all you got to do. Then you're going to have exams. Pop down here. And we're at week 6. Close it off so I stop confusing myself. Now I want you to note up here, the management decision problem number 6. You can do 6, 8, or 6, 9. Okay, either one of those. And then you got the answers. Then you got chapter 7. You got chapter 8. Now, I have a link here to BikeDB, and we're going to download it for just a second. If I'm not mistaken, one of the cases uses this, and so we have a product table and a supplier table. So you may be asked in one of those cases to work with Bike ID. Okay? And if not, explore around, play around with it. Now, I have a web safari for you, though. And this is for October. This is from last semester, in the fall. But I do like to give you these so you can spend some time. Now, I want you to go over and take a look at these and spend some time so you understand the difference between structured and unstructured data and what we call the big data problem and the right database for your data strategy. Now, if there's anything I think you really ought to see, it's this one. Okay? And they're going to walk you through all those questions, and they'll also identify for you products. So I want you to spend some time looking at that. Again, my expectation is you're going to be looking at this stuff because it's going to give you some additional insights that you don't necessarily get from the text. And as you've heard me talking about structured and unstructured data and the big data problem, here are some articles that deal with that. Okay? And I'm trying to remember what we use BikeDB for, but it's something. And I'm going to go back to this management decision problem. Back to 242, 243. Okay, so I'll go to back to the chapters. going to find the chapter 6. $242 to $243. Let's look at that for just a minute. As I said before, it's at the very bottom. Okay. That's why I have that there. Okay. So you can use I think the bike's related to that one. That's 6'9". And I think I said you could do 6'8" or 6'9". If you choose to do 6'10", I'd given you a choice of 6'8" or 6'9". And I'll tell you what, if you want, I gave you the choice of 6'8" or 6'9". If you wanted, you could do 6'10". And there you'll be using the bike, Sylvester's Bike Shop is related to that. So let me go in here for just a minute. And I'm going to edit this. In the event that someone would want to, you may. Now I remember, it's coming back to me. That's why I included the bike DB, because it's, if you choose to do management development problem 6-10, you'll need to use that bike DB file that's over there. Okay? In fact, I'm going to edit this. And that way, I've updated this. Okay? So some things I needed to get straightened out there and get corrected for us. Now, again, the web Safari. Got these links for you. As I said to you before, I think of all of them, choosing the right database for your data strategy is the most important. Okay, now I've also included for you some TED guest lectures. All right, now you've probably been over to TED, probably seen the lectures. I like them because you get some of the most engaging lectures you could possibly see, and you get an opportunity to hear from some of the top thinkers in the fields. TED is just, to me, a great resource that supplements what we do in the course. Now, I don't give you questions over these. I don't give you extra credit if you look at them. However, I'm going to consider them as part of your regular lecture time. And so for this lecture, all right, which is 75 minutes, I'm going to do some speaking, but I am also expecting you to go over and look at these. All right. And because they're TED Talks, they have transcript, okay, as well as closed captioning. You can start the thing, you can stop it, etc. But I want you to go look at these. In fact, I think what I'm going to back here for just a moment, just to make this really, really clear, and I'm going to edit this. And this is no different than if I'd have a speak. And I'm going to update that. And there you'll see these are required viewing. All right, I'll go back to them. Now I've reviewed these and I've looked at them. This is a great discussion about big data, what they want to do for us, all this unstructured data that's out there. Then this is something very near and dear to my heart, the beauty of data visualization. Remember, as we've gone through this course, I've said repeatedly, MIS is strategic oriented because MIS is strategically oriented for a very simple reason. It helps us make decisions about the world in which our company works, the industry, and then the greater world, as well as internal operations. And those feed into company strategy. And at the first of these chapters, every single chapter has that same, what I call virtuous cycle, where we use MIS to address a business problem. So I want you to see that. Now, this, on the issue of data visualization, you've taken any courses with me. If you took BISS 1123, you heard me say over and over again, we use the spreadsheet and the charts to take data and make them more vivid and more concise in what they say so that we can make a decision with it. And the best example of how we use visualization is in this idea of dashboards. Okay? Now, here's something quite interesting in another TED Talk. These are required viewing. These are guest lectures for this class and this week, and I want you to see them. This is one on algorithms that shape our world. And again, TED has closed captioning. It can give you a transcript. So it's a fantastic resource. And I don't use these because I'm lazy. I use them because I can bring in a guest speaker, one of the top people in the world, and it doesn't cost anybody a dime. TED puts this out there precisely for this kind of sharing and an attempt to stimulate action and thought about these issues. And TED covers a lot of ground. So these are guest speakers. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go back over the first one. And they may take me out there. And this one's 15 minutes. Okay. He says big data is better data, so I'll close that off. That's 15 minutes there. Then the beauty of data visualization. This one's 18 minutes. Okay. And this is, I really, really enjoy. This is one of my favorites. And what would it cost me to get even one of these people to be a guest speaker? They'd want some kind of an honorarium, and deservedly so, okay? And the beauty of TED is that it collects it has these folks come in and talk and speak. They give their lecture, and TED promotes those lectures. So the person gets paid by TED, or they get an incredible product endorsement of themselves as a brand or some idea they're pushing. So thus far, I've got about 33 minutes of required viewing from TED. Now, these are required. I want you to see them because they're of high quality. And then finally, how algorithms shape our world. All right. And I think this one is very important. Here's another 15 minutes. So between the two of these, I've got about 48 minutes of required viewing time. The beauty is you can see these throughout the week at your leisure, and regardless of the device you have, but they are required viewing. Why do I bring him here? Well, what we're finding is that algorithms provide us insights and keys that we never had before. Now, if you're confused about what an algorithm is, you have the world's greatest database at your fingertips. And I recommend you go out and you do a search on algorithm. Here's a nice video at YouTube. What is it and why would you have to care? Why should you care? Now, I'm going to give you an excellent example of what I'm talking about. Right now, I just finished a course that I took on fintech. And to make a long story short, one of the tools, or one of the applications that they use in fintech is a tool called blockchain. And blockchain is a way for transactions to be conducted in which the algorithm, as opposed to a person or opposed to a financial institution, serves as the intermediary. And the two parties involved have the key to the algorithm nobody else does, which enables person-to-person financial transactions that are handled by nobody but the two people. And this is really going to change things. Now, that intro course, they stress that all of this stuff, and you're going to hear that term fintech if you haven't already, okay? It's really got its momentum in China. When in China, the economy at one time was just simply cash and barter. People didn't have banks. You didn't go to the bank. And now the Chinese government is concerned that, grandma has 10 million bucks she stored in her mattress. So they are encouraging people to enter into the banking system. However, they had a wide number of entrepreneurs who said, let's build financial technologies like a blockchain or apps. When you use your phone to pay for something, you're engaged in fintech. When you use your phone to get a discount at a restaurant or somewhere where you shop, you're engaged in fintech. And we have a number of these kinds of technologies that are emerging. When you scan your stuff at the grocery store or wherever, you're using fintech. It's reading your card. Now, the development of what we call NFC, near field communication, it's gonna come to a point where here's what will happen. I'm gonna take Walmart, and in your textbook, they start with Kroger, the grocery store of the future. And NFC communication means this, that you have a near field and data are transmitted by wire, okay? And so it's a wireless system and it's called near field communication because it only works within, say, a short physical proximity. the beauty of it is you don't need a bunch of servers and stuff. Now you can hook it into a network, but it's its own self-contained little bubble. So I get my groceries at Walmart. I walk through. I don't scan them. I don't have to have a person stand there and input the data. The NFC scanner, I didn't get my stuff out. I start packaging my stuff up, and the NFC scanner captures everything that's on there and bills me and bills me automatically. And I will have indicated take it out of my debit card or take it out of my my Walmart card. Have whatever arrangement you've done when you set up your account. So you can see how that changes retail. And smart retailers will do this. Smart retailers are going to move more and more and more to using technology to check out the items that you purchased. And if they're smart, they're going to have more and more personnel serving as consultants, okay, or folks who answer questions, or folks who who do merchandising on an ongoing basis throughout the day to sell stuff. More productive than just standing there waiting for me and you to bring a basket up here. So the fintech has got some really, really interesting stuff. And I would encourage you to go over and see this TED Talk, because it talks about algorithms, and they're on the way, okay? And you'll understand more of what we're talking about as you look at the TED Talk. So there are 3 required guest lectures, as I've indicated, and there's about 48 minutes of it. And again, the web safari, that's some additional time, all right? Now, what I'm going to do on Wednesday is cover chapters 7 and 8. And so the time I've spent here with you today, all right, plus the time for the TED guest lectures is going to get you to the magical 75 minutes. I also want you to do the web safari, okay? And it's not required, but if you really want to leave OBU with your business degree and be somebody who can go equal toe-to-toe with business students who graduate from the best institutions in the world, you've got your opportunity. And it really depends upon what you want for you. Okay, so I've covered everything except just some discussions about the chapter, which I will do on Wednesday, and that will pretty much wrap this up. Now I'm going to be grading your work today, tomorrow, maybe Monday. The thing Monday kind of throws me for a loop, so I have to do some work. But this is a pre-recorded screencast. And we're going to have plenty, and I have plenty for us to do to fill our magical 150 minutes. But we're coming into some interesting parts of the textbook. And since I've got Vital Source open, I'm going to pop over to, and we've got tests on 7 and 8. So let me pop over here to chapter 8. 7 and 8, I think is what we're at. Yeah. 7 and 8. We'll go to chapter 7. And this gives us an overview of the network technologies that we have here in the United States, how they work, and how they provide support for communication for electronic business, okay, and then some of the principal standards. It's good for you to understand that for a key reason. You're either at some point going to be involved in purchasing one of these services, or or you're going to be involved as a taxpayer in voting on are we going to add wireless 5G to Sapulpa, Oklahoma, for example. They may have it, I don't know. But you want to be knowledgeable about it. And you also want to be knowledgeable because this stuff comes at a cost, and we have to understand what we're working with. Any business program anywhere that covers management information systems ultimately has to come back to the physical piece of it as well, and what's going on there. Now, back to the contents and part 2, and we'll finish part 2 out by looking at chapter 8, and this is securing information systems. It's about information security. And I can tell you right now, we have a course for our accounting programs called Information Assurance. We don't offer a course of any kind on cybersecurity, frankly, because we can't find anybody. If you're going to offer that course, you need someone who has some MIS and or computer science background, as well as a background in the military, or for a security agency, or for one of these people out here like Kaspersky. And those are rare to find, expensive individuals. So if you're to say, well, if I leave here and I kind of like working with computers, and maybe I've messed around with writing some code, what would be a good pathway? Well, a good pathway would be a degree in cybersecurity, even if you hadn't had any background. Okay, say you hadn't worked in law enforcement. If a security firm hires you, which you will get hired, I guarantee you, or a company hires you, they'll put you through additional training, or you'll get the experience needed to work in that sector. And I can tell you, they cannot get enough of those people. And if you want proof, I'll show you why it's so important. I'm going to go over here to the New York Times. Man, I'm already a subscriber, so I just need to go to the Times itself. And in addition to the issues going on with the nomination of Judge Kavanaugh, okay, we're also dealing with yet another one of these data breaches. And so once again, Facebook is under the gun, okay? And we'll go to the business section. Okay? And here we are, Facebook hacked again. And here it is, another security breach exposing 50 million users. Here's a person from Google, one of their executives, who's been subpoenaed. So this is an important chapter for you to read and to take a look at. Well, that will pretty much do it. Again, the TED guest lectures are required viewing, as well as this screencast. I also said, okay, you can work on 6.8 or 6.9 or MDP 610. And if you do work on an MDP 610, 6-10, here's the database to use. And then a web safari that I strongly encourage you to do. And you have chapter 7 and 8 done, and we will talk about them on Wednesday. Okay? Well, that's going to do it. And so I'm going to stop the share.